Today is 10 minutes of tennis with world-renowned tennis coach, Australian and Puerto Rico, Justin Yeo. We have a new series, and today is going to be our first 9.5 minutes of brainstorming, and we want to jump right in. So, Justin, we want to talk about the future of tennis. Where do you want to start?
Well, I think what came up about this is if we really look at the men's top 10, um, even the women's, but mostly the men's, if we look at the amount of variety and the amount of variation of style of players, even height and size, there's no, well, there are some common things, obviously, that make a top 10, top 20 player, but there's a lot of variation between the styles of players that we're seeing now. And we're going to see variation, obviously, mix ranking-wise, which we're seeing that as well. So it brings my attention that the future of tennis is for two people, the professionals, the coaches out there that are teaching, whether it be the amateur player who wants to play like it is on the TV, or he's teaching talented juniors. and even maybe not even talented. You just mentioned the word talent a few seconds ago with me, and who knows what a talented junior is? I think a talented junior is somebody who loves playing the game and loves getting out in the court and enjoying themselves. And then you can shape all those things if they have that. So that being said, if you do have some talented, passionate tennis players like that, you should be thinking 10 to 20 years from now what the game is now, what it's going to be evolved to for them. So that's probably the point I would say about future of tennis, because there's one part is the development and the professional part, and then the second part I would say of future of tennis is what we're seeing with the movement, spectators and people are wanting to come out and play or watch the game. You're going to see a lot more variation of rankings. So, we won't see a top three like we had for 20 years where everyone idolized, Federer, Djokovic, Nadal. We're going to see a lot of variation in and out, I think.
And we talk about that and we say, okay, we want to target the future. And we say, you and I had a conversation about my 2.5-year-old. Just loves tennis, wants to play all the time. Well, I don't know the things that he's going to need when he's 20. I only know what the 20-year-olds need now. I only know what the top 10 need now. So how do I know about strings and the new technologies? We're making a bit of a guess, aren't we, to be able to work backwards and say, okay, we want to be a really great tennis player at 20 years old. Well, that's 17 and a half years from now. How do we know what the future looks like? How are we going to figure this out?
That's a great question because technology right now is blowing up everywhere else. Probably the only thing that maybe doesn't really blow up so much is tennis because we've got the graphite rackets that keep just getting tweaked here and there. What we've gotten seen lately is the string tensions have dropped down dramatically since I was playing. And that's been an adjustment as well. So I think 10, 20 years from now, yeah, we could see some crazy technology things coming out. Maybe a lot of VR and AI stuff that helps juniors on wet days still be training and practicing hitting more balls than we did,
Right.
So I don't know. That can be said is out of our reach. What I would say is in our reach is, excuse me, what we see in the game now will be what's going to be in 10 years from now, no doubt. So the variety, taking the ball on the rise, footwork, endurance, maintenance, a lot of things like that.
Well, we also want to think about the off the court options. So the mental health or the mental toughness. We're going to talk about interviews. You got to be able to handle those things. Does Facebook still exist or Instagram in 10, 15 years? Is that going to be a different thing? So we've got a lot of questions to be able to look into the future and say, how do we prepare for it? because if we've got a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old, we both talked earlier and we said, okay, well, maybe 10 to 12 is that time where we really might consider taking it seriously as a player. But we also look at the social player and say, okay, well, is there anything that changes there, or is social tennis always the same? It's always just you show up on the weekend and you play and have fun. Are there technical advances or anything else that changes those? I think most of what we look at is the juniors in this setting, right?
Yeah, no, I guess one of the points that I made on my paper is data. And we're very data driven now, and there's technologies coming out all the time now, showing us more data, trying to record you hitting balls and playing. We're seeing more and more stuff. Now, as we see that, it sort of finds its way down to the amateur level of an app or a phone or a camera, and I think that's the kind of technology we're going to see more and more and more in the next 5-10 years of the data-driven stuff in the lower level of tennis, like amateur tennis. I mean, not many people talk about PlaySight anymore, but PlaySight is still around, and it would have been something cool if they could just make it very mobile that, Sean and Justin could get on a court, record each other and go, okay, there's some things that I did there and things that I need to grow there, and understand where I was in the baseline, and did I work my way forward and back? How many kilometers did I cover for the match? I mean,
you're describing Swing Vision, and it already exists, and it's an app on a phone. So we have some of those things, and we've seen that at the amateur level to be able to help the amateur player, the social player that says, oh, you know what? Yeah, I would love some data from my own. I don't need everything that the guys see on the IBM stat trackers and all that, but I would like some data, some information, and I can do that with an app on my phone. From a perspective of trying to predict the future, I think that's what we're going to talk about more of over the next few weeks, which is, all right, what's coming next? What do we need to prepare for? Much of it is a guess. Much of it is, okay, well, let's look at it what it is now. And as you mentioned, there's variety in the game. Everybody just loved it when there was a huge difference between Sinner, who's just a straightforward machine, and Alcaraz, who's a highlight reel and drop shots everywhere. So very different types, like you say, in the top 10. And you sent me a message earlier. Taylor Fritz is number 4 in the world. What is this? What's going on?
Yeah. I mean, great to see U.S. tennis getting up there. That little punch out there for that one, because it's a long time on the men's side for the U.S. to be up this high. So that's awesome that he's up there. But this is a great brainstorming session, because you just described, I actually watch tennis a lot, play tennis a lot. You're actually on behind the scenes learning all the technologies, all the different businesses, all the little services out there that I'm completely unaware of, which obviously shows because I said PlaySight. But at the end, that's where we bounce back and forth and help each other. And a little plug to American Racket Sports Association. This is what it's all going to be about. And so I think we can highlight future tennis with exactly what we're trying to accomplish as well. But on the other side of it, I'd like to get a punch out to everybody that's ever listened to us to start just giving us some engagement. What is it you would love to hear more of? There's not much between the two of us that we can't cover. And if there is something, we have a pretty wide network to reach out to and invite to calls and have someone join our calls. So I think that's where it's getting to the point for me for future of tennis and the future of 10 minutes of tennis, is that we'd like to see some engagement, and we keep growing and we keep trying to help the game.
There we go. We're looking for the future of 10 minutes of tennis. Justin, I appreciate it. Maybe we need a second brainstorming session next week, because we got a lot to cover here in the next few weeks. But thank you, sir. Our 10 minutes are up. I appreciate it. I will see you next week. Thanks so much.
See you, man.